Odds are you remember the TV show Barney and Friends, which is still in syndication, though new episodes haven't been produced since 2009. What a lot of people don't know is that the show was originally developed as a small concept that was only meant to have 10 episodes. The show was always surrealistic, with a large purple Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to project happiness on a group of children who are alone in a building with no parents in sight. Well, the creator of the show was kicking around with many different producers before the show aired on PBS, but with that said, I still have absolutely no idea how I got this tape in my possession. It was in a box of VHS tapes that had sticker markings, meaning it was ripped from TV off of one of those late night channels, meaning someone was probably broadcasting it independently. I may upload it one of these days if I ever get my hands on a VHS tape converter, if you'd be interested in seeing it anyway. The episode doesn't start out normally. The children are outside of the main building and going to meet Barney the dinosaur, but the door just won't open. The entire first 3 minutes are the children trying desperately to get into the building, and they're visibly upset that they can't get in. They punch at the windows, grab at the door, and one of them even starts crying profusely, just uncontrollably. One of them gets a knife from next to the sandcastle and tries to jimmy the lock. Eventually the door opens and they go inside. Where is he? The child actors, a collection of boys and girls of young ages varying in race, they all seem visibly shaken. Have you seen me? Is written on the wall in large cartoon letters. They seem to want to know if Barney is playing a trick, so they start to act as though it's a game of hide and seek, being innocent young children. There are bottles of seemingly spoiled milk near the door. The school doors around them start to open and close like a set malfunction. Specifically, the door into the common area where the show takes place opens and closes twice, and an alternate set door, which is never seen on the show, opens once. The set is visibly cold as the children start shaking. One of the kids looks really sad. I think Barney's in trouble, one of them says. None of them say anything now. It's as though they're trying not to say anything that's on the tip of their tongue, maybe for the sake of trying to stay actors. There was an ant farm on the back wall next to a blue clay pot on a shelf. One of the younger girls points it out by saying, "Our ants are dead. We should just leave." Another girl points out a rotted, withered pumpkin where even the flies surrounding it are dead. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream is heard in the alternate hall. 4 of the students run into the hallway, struggling and panicking behind stage, while 5th runs over to the back wall and desperately starts ripping the children's drawings off the wall. One is of a car crash, another a graveyard, and a third a picture of a sick person in bed. The kids seem to be running behind the set forever until an unused corridor that was never seen on any other episode, as far as I know, seems to go on forever, like an infinite loop. It looks like either the creators reused the same set and had the kids run through the hall a dozen times, or it's just an extremely strange, overly long hall, like it's from somebody's nightmare. There's a limbo bar in the middle of the hall, and they all duck under it and keep moving. Somehow they ended up at a closet on a different set, and the camera jumped. One of the kids used an asthma inhaler because he's visibly out of breath, and there's a 6th child at the closet who is doing all the screaming. 6 paper skeletons, that's it. At this point I thought maybe they were just doing a children's horror show or kind of a spoof. The kids grab the 6 skeletons, one for each kid, and rip them up. One girl takes her purple sweater off. One of the children says, "I know where he is," and then the screen fades out. "We'll be right back" is shown with a picture of Barney, but he's looking downward, kinda sad. He doesn't look like himself, and there's a visible rip in the fabric of the costume running on the left side. The real creepy thing about it is how long this stays up, and the fact is, the more I looked at it, the more I realized it was just an empty costume propped up by maybe a broom or something. Back in the outdoors area, Barney is seen laying on his side, gasping for air. There's something clawing from within him which looks absolutely disturbing. "Where were you?" One of the kids runs up and starts to hug him out, but Barney pushes him off. "I was always here," he says. "You just never saw me until now." He's holding a balloon for each child. They go to grab one and he releases them, letting them drift upward while the kids scramble to jump and grab them. "He's fading!" One of the kids became frantic. "I never taught any of you lessons," he said. "I just loved you. I only knew how to love you." The kids started to cry. "He's fading! I believe in you, Barney!" The kids all start to shiver and Barney begins to scream frantically for them to move. Black cloth begins falling from the top of the set in pieces. "A part of you wants to hate me," he says. "I know that part of you. I see it. I can't resolve it. I can't teach you lessons, and I can't fix what's broken or human nature." Every time the camera cuts back, Barney is in a different suit. First a stuffed bear, and then a giant blanket with eyes. "I don't know who broke your heart, but someone did. And then you grew up, and you had a family. But nothing ever changed since then." One of the children now changed into an unkempt 30-year-old in the same clothing, using the asthma inhaler. Another of the kids became more frantic and started trying to rip the costume head off, but Barney picked her up and violently threw her into the back set. For the duration of the show, she never got up. Barney starts to cry, which is the only time that this ever happened on the show. "Won't you look at me, please? I mean, really look at me. You've never really seen the real me." Barney's suit is now completely white, and he's only at half opacity, holding a ticking clock. I'm guessing the opacity is because they used a low-budget overlay. He rambles about how we all evolved from rats. And he takes the knife from the child's hand and physically cuts down the center of his clothing. 2 cats crawl out of the suit and run off. The set grows very dark and Barney's opacity begins to fade even more. "And remember, no matter who you are, no matter what you become, no matter what we were meant to be, I will always love you." I'm not sure what the remains of the VHS tape are, as someone seems to have taped over it with amateur footage of a car crash.